Hello there, Rommel. Nice to see these new essays from you. So let's get right into your correction. Okay, the topic is traditional schooling. It's an interesting one because there are two questions. Are there alternatives in the education system? And is traditional education doing more harm than good? So let's see what you had to say about these two questions. The issue of whether education needs to be revolutionized and if traditional schooling has a detrimental effect on society without the has grown in importance over the last few decades. Okay, you need to make those two changes there. It should be acknowledged that nowadays being academically inclined should not be the primary goal of students, and instead they should develop their skills. No, you could say they should develop their creativity, or they should develop their creative skills. But I prefer it simpler. I would have said they should develop their creativity. The assessor will discuss the issue using examples from Singapore and the Netherlands to demonstrate reports and support arguments. Okay. It's clear. It's fine. All right, so let's move on. Firstly, educational institutions can revise, not revised, can revise the curriculum to give more attention to developing, ing here, human creativity by adding more time to activities that use, no S, imagination in all levels in school. Students who excel in this field should be rewarded or acknowledged, so students will be encouraged. Okay, how about this? They will be encouraged, not students and students, to encouraged with a D to pursue developing their skills. Excuse me. A study in the Netherlands showed or shows that children appreciate when they're acknowledged, and which then promotes confidence to continue and further develop their skill. Okay, developing their skill, develop their skill. Try to come up with a synonym for one of them. Therefore, such change can be done that will greatly improve the importance of human creativity. Okay, I have a little issue with the way you've developed this paragraph. Remember what I said? The question is, are there alternatives in the education system? And okay, it sounds like you're saying that, yeah, there is an alternative, that we should focus on creativity. But I'm not really, I feel like you're venturing a little off topic, I gotta be honest with you. Like here when you're talking about being rewarded and acknowledged, and then even your proof here with the Netherlands, I feel like it's not focused on this alternative in education, but it's just about developing creativity. So I really feel like you're kind of going off topic a little bit, okay? So please be aware of that and try to watch out for it. All right, moving on. Secondly, humans are born with a creative mind, and most children have a vast amount of imagination, which most of the time is gradually lost with a T while growing older. This is largely because schools give less priority to activities related to creativity like arts, music, and dance compared to academic skills. Full stop. Okay. Comma. Constantly giving less time to imaginative skills. Well, imaginative. I guess so. Okay. For example, in Singapore, comma, primary level students are graded on English, maths, and science. Hence, comma, they focus only on these subjects and not bother on other subjects like arts and music. Notwithstanding the fact that it helps reduce the load for young learners. Okay, but every year there are fewer students that take up arts and music as a career, which causes a decline in the number of arts in the society. Okay, so here, remember what you're supposed to be answering. Is traditional education doing more harm than good? I don't really feel like, okay, I basically feel like you haven't answered it. And then here you get to this last sentence, and I feel like you kind of are saying that there is a decline, because we're focusing so much on maths and science, there's a decline in students who focus on the arts, and therefore there's a smaller number of artists in the society. But it's such a, it's very difficult to find. Okay, it's difficult to find your answer, and so I really want you to make it more clear. Remember that you really want to have a topic sentence in your first sentence of the paragraph, where it's basically an introduction to what you're talking about, okay? And you really need to be focusing on this question. Is traditional education doing more harm than good? And you didn't really answer that. Like I said, only in the last sentence you kind of touched upon it. But that's it's not enough, okay? You need to directly answer the question. So if you do think that it does more harm than good, you have to explain why you think that's the case by directly answering that, essentially. All right, let's move on then. To conclude from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that traditional schooling needs to change in order to balance academic and imaginative skills, thus providing an opportunity to develop and embrace one's, you need an apostrophe here, human creativity. In this way, arts can continue to be part of the human ecology. Okay, the rest of the paragraph is good. The rest of the essay is good. I like their conclusion. So that was nice, but I want you to keep in mind what I said about your type of development. Okay, for me that was the weakest point in this essay. All right, so now we have the letter. Oh, it's a rather long letter. Wow, okay. All right away I'm going to tell you one thing that I noticed. Check this out. You start with Dear Sir, Madam. All right, so it sounds like it's formal. It does say that it's formal, I believe, yeah. But then look how you end it. Yours sincerely. I want to remind you that when we write a formal letter and we don't know the name of the person we're writing to, when we start Dear Sir, Madam, the convention says that you must finish it with yours faithfully. Okay? So don't forget that. You will lose points for writing yours sincerely if you have written Dear Sir, Madam. All right, moving on. Dear Sir or Madam, my name is Rommel Reformer and I'm one of your frequent customers. I am writing this letter to complain about an awful experience I had with your restaurant. Okay, fine. Clear, you introduce yourself and the purpose of your letter is clear. So those are two very good things. Let's move on. Last Friday night, I visited your establishment to have a nice dinner with my family. We ordered 3 plates of well-done steaks, a bowl of vegetables, and a pitcher of orange juice. We waited for over 30 minutes before the food came. After having our first bite, we noticed the meat was still cold and raw on the inside. I believe we say with steak. Raw on the inside. I think so. Or you could have just said raw inside. That would have been fine too. Additionally, the vegetable was blunt. I don't know what you mean by blunt. And it probably should have been the vegetables. The vegetables were something and looked, ed, like they just came out of the microwave oven. I'm no expert in cooking, but based on what I have gathered, this is usually the result if the meat and vegetables were frozen and not fresh. We told your waiter about it, and he told us they would fix it, so he took the food. We waited for another 30 minutes, and by the time the food came back, we were starving. I thought we could finally eat, but we were dismayed, ed, because the meat was overcooked. There should be a hyphen here. The food was so difficult to chew and swallow. You didn't need so. It was so difficult to chew that. With that, we ended up just eating a portion of the food. We paid $80 for a meal that we thought did not deserve it. Did not deserve it. This was a totally different experience from our earlier visits where we really enjoyed the food. I would like to do something about the quality of, the quality, where am I now? Computer did something funny, sorry. Okay, of your food and waiting time. If you do not do something to fix these issues, then I will have no choice but to stop eating at your restaurant. I'm pretty sure that I can find another one that can do better. Furthermore, I will give your establishment a low rating on Yelp and will convince my friends not to patronize your place, not at your place, if no actions will be done. Okay, if no actions are done, or if no actions are taken would be even better. I'm hoping that you take this matter seriously and, I am hoping, and I get a response from you soon, okay? All right, so, my comments. First of all, I think I'm really glad that you tried to develop this. That was a good thing to do. I think you might have overdeveloped it. Like, there are a little too many details. I'm curious how long these 2 essays took you to write. Because this one, I think probably took you a while. If it took you over 20 minutes, then you really should have cut some things out. I mean, there was a lot of detail, and while usually that's good, I do want to make sure that you have enough time to do both tasks 2 and task 1. Another thing, now in task 1, it's not super important that you have paragraphs, but you could have here. I would have liked to have seen this whole block of text broken up somehow. And then the other thing is your tone. It feels kind of neutral. I wouldn't say that it's either formal or informal, but I would have liked a little more formal. I mean, you're starting off, dear sir or madam, so I would have liked to have used more of these formal expressions, a little more indirect language, a little more modal verbs like would, could, may, and so forth. So that's my comment about that. But you certainly did develop your answer quite a bit. Like I said, I would like to know how long it took you to write both these essays. But I mean, you've got a really strong foundation here. You've got a lot of good things happening with your writing. I do want you to think about what I said about your task 2 with the task response and the development of the essay, and then here also for the comments that I mentioned. All right, so my understanding is that you have a couple more essays in your pack, so I can't wait to see those. All right, so good luck writing, and I will be waiting for your next essays.